Okay, guys, so let's dive into the mother and father wounds, healing the roots. So, rewriting the story of the mother and father wounds, and this is where your patterns began, and it's also where your power begins. So, let's talk about the mother and father wounds. This is not about blaming your parents, it's about getting honest about what shaped you so that you can break the cycle and start living from a more whole and empowered place. These wounds come up from unmet needs during your childhood. It's when you didn't feel seen, safe, nurtured, protected, or validated consistently. You adapted in ways that help you survive, and those patterns might be keeping you stuck today. So you might find yourself in relationships where you abandon yourself, you overgive, you silence your truth, or you chase love that feels just like what you experienced growing up. And that's not a coincidence. It's an actual blueprint, and this is the good news, is that you can actually rewrite the blueprint. So let's break down the core energies of the mother and father wounds and how they show up. So I'll list 5 examples of each below, and then I'm going to give you some journal prompts at the end to help you go deeper. So the mother wound, this wound is connected to how safe you felt, how nurtured you felt, emotional, intuitive, soft, or feminine. It's also how your mom treated herself and how she responded to you when you tried to express your truth. So the core themes are emotional enmeshment, guilt for having needs, fear of being too much or not enough, people pleasing, suppression or feminine energy like creativity and softness. And 5 common ways that the mother wound shows up are: number 1, you feel responsible for everyone else's emotions. Number 2, you struggle to receive support, rest, or affection without guilt. Number 3, you minimize your success or hide your light to avoid jealousy or rejection. Number 4, you overgive and feel resentful when it's not reciprocated. Number 5, you fear judgment or disapproval from other women. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the father wound, and this one is tied to protection, structure, safety, boundaries, and even being seen or affirmed in your sense of direction, and also personal power. So if a dad was absent, abusive, emotionally shut down, or overly critical, you might still be carrying the belief that you are unsafe to trust masculine energy, even within yourself. That's a really big moment for you guys. So core themes of how this shows up are going to be fear of abandonment, fear of failure, lack of trust, needing to prove your worth, difficulty trusting others or speaking up. And, we've got 5 common ways that the father wound also shows up, or is going to be: number 1, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. You chase validation from men, bosses, or authority figures. Number 2, you shrink your voice to avoid conflict to stay safe. That's a big one for me. Number 3, you hustle for your worth and struggle to slow down. Number 4, you attract emotionally unavailable or very critical partners. And then number 5, you fear stepping fully into your power or leadership. So when we're unaware of these wounds, that's when we repeat them. But when we shine a light on them, we begin to reparent ourselves, restore safety in our body, and reclaim our voice, our value, and our direction. So let's go deeper, and I'm gonna offer these to you. You can pause the video if you want to, but these are going to be some journal prompts to help you explore it deeper. So the first one is going to be, and like I said, take your time. When was the first time I felt like I had to take care of someone else emotionally? The next one is, what was modeled to me, what it means to be a woman or a man? The next one is, where do I feel like I have to earn love to be perfect or safe? And then, what am I afraid will happen if I speak my truth or set a boundary? And then we have, what part of me is still waiting to be seen, validated, or chosen? Okay, so those journal prompts, like I said, you can pause the video so you can take your time and add them in there. But this video and module is really about, are you willing to dive into those deeper parts of yourself? And I know that for me personally, the mother and the father wound was probably the hardest part of the entire journey. It took me the longest to digest and integrate what was actually happening, or what did happen in my past and how it related to how my life looked. I'm still uncovering stuff. So what I want you guys to understand is this is not something that is you're not going to complete this in a couple of weeks. This is something that you are going to slowly integrate and pay attention to and observe. And I don't want you to push yourself. I don't want you to pressure yourself into getting all the answers and figuring everything out right away. That is the most important part about this program, is I'm giving you different guides, but these are not meant to be done in 1 week. This is really the purpose behind it is for you to slow down and to really think and to live in the present moment. And when you have these things come up, you have these triggers happen, you have these things that you emotionally react to, I don't want you to react to that in that very moment. So let's say you get in an argument with your spouse and you know that it's not necessarily something that they've done. There's a trigger coming up because of something that happened to you in your past. And that's really what the purpose of these modules are for, is to help you to become more of an observer throughout your life. So we're going to, later on, we're going to dive into routine. We're going to dive into how to deal with manipulative people. I have a lot of great content for you guys, but these are the core wounds. And I really want you to take the time to kind of sit and think about some of this stuff. If you're having a really rough day and it's too overwhelming for you, don't push it. Don't force yourself to dive into this stuff that's really uncomfortable. But if you're eager to learn and you want to know why things are bothering you so much, and you want to know why you're triggered so often, these are some of the things that you should think about. Because once you heal those core wounds, once you really dive into the deeper issues of why you react the way that you do, you start to have more control over it. You're bringing awareness to everything, because the first step in healing is just being aware of it. So I know a lot of my videos sound a little bit redundant, but the point is to help you to realize that you're operating in a pattern. You're on a program, and you were programmed that way from a very young age to have certain beliefs and to, think a certain way about yourself. And that's not always the truth. And I know that some of this stuff can be kind of difficult, but what we're going to do is we're going through these journal prompts. We're bringing awareness to what a mother and father wound look like. And then in this module at some point, I'm not sure if it's going to be at the very end, or if it's going to be something that we do separately, but you're going to get an opportunity to write a letter to the people that have hurt you the most. And after we've done the first module of detoxing, we're really paying attention to where we're giving our power away. We're paying attention to, whether we're on our phones all the time, using social media, using food, using, we've got these attachments to these relationships, and we've got to do certain things to help us kind of deal with that void that we're feeling. Once we wipe that stuff out and we start really diving into the deeper wounds, this is when the really great work happens. And so when you start building on top of it, you're going to be ready. You're going to know that, okay, I've dealt with the deeper stuff. I know why I make the decisions that I make. And in our group calls, I really want us to, share this stuff with each other, because I'm still discovering a lot of my mother and father wounds. There's a lot that I've done a lot of work, but there are things that still pop up. We are never done healing. And we're not broken. But it's what I'm trying to say is that you are always a work in progress. And I don't want you to feel like, I'm doing this program and I'm going to be healed in 12 weeks. That's not how it works. What we're trying to do is we're shifting our perspective. So we're looking at something one way, and now we're shifting it and looking at it a completely different way, so that we release that blame and we release the guilt and the shame that we carry around, because that's where most of us are operating. And if you don't know anything about the emotional scale, I'm actually going to attach a picture of it below so you can kind of see that when you're living in guilt and you're living in shame, that is equal to the frequency of death. And that's why you feel the way that you